independent newspaper now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
Maybe someone needed it at home, or maybe it saved you from something you didn't even see coming. It's funny how life works like that. I've realized that not everything that feels like a mistake is actually a mistake. Sometimes the things we think went wrong are just detours to something better. That missed opportunity, that awkward moment, that plan that fell through, it might just be life redirecting you. And when you look back, it all starts to make sense. That is why I've made a decision to live with no regrets. Of course I mess up. We all do. But instead of sitting in regret, I ask myself, what can I learn from this? Or what did this save me from? And it changes everything. You see, regret can hold you back, but reflection helps you grow. So today, I just want you to breathe. Let go of whatever didn't go right yesterday. Don't overthink the past. Just show up today with a fresh mindset, and you will see things go differently. You are doing better than you give yourself credit for, and your story is still unfolding. As you go into today, whatever looks like it's going wrong, I want you to rethink it and be grateful for it. Regardless of how bad it looks, just make sure that you say thank you for it. And at the right time, at Zed Multimedia. It's context, it's clarity, it's confidence for Ghana, for progress, and as always, for God and country. But those who stood firm, those who believed in the vision, those who refused to quit, they became the stories we celebrate today. And that is exactly what Dan Hamilton is singing about. We don't deny the challenges, we declare victory over them. We don't ignore the obstacles, we turn them into stepping stones. And we don't let failure define us, we let it refine us. So this morning, wherever you are on your journey, whether you are in the season of planting, the season of waiting, or the season of harvesting, keep this at the center of your heart. Victory is not ahead of you. Victory is within you. And your persistence, your faith, your courage, these are your songs, your songs of victory. So as you step into today, step with the confidence of a winner. Build like a winner, invest like a winner, lead like a winner. Because the truth is that victory is already yours. Yes. It says that in kunimdi ewo ho ma ona wo twen onyankopon. Na nasem no ye na japadi kesi. I wish I can continue that. All right, so once again, a very good morning to you. Let me run you through what we have for you this morning. Of course, as usual, we're starting with our news review segment. And at exactly 7 o'clock, Samuela Imchi will be right here with the business news segment, bringing you the latest in the world of business as well as the economy. And then right after that, I come your way at exactly 7:30 with a business brief segment, giving you something brief ahead of our roundtable discussion. And of course, that will be followed by Transport Today with Solomon Tetenate, bringing us all the latest flight schedules as well as the traffic situation in town and some news in the aviation sector. And then Market Trends comes your way with Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst. And finally, we wrap everything up with our roundtable discussion. And today I'm talking to somebody very important. You want to stick and stay. And we're talking about something very important. If you're into business, then this particular conversation is for you. Please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. We'll get into that very soon. And like I indicated, we are streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH. Please do well to visit those platforms. Visit Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're streaming live right there. And let me announce our numbers. If you want to send us a WhatsApp, 0544321019. Send your birthday wishes as well as your comments on our conversations. Please send us a WhatsApp, 0544321019. 0544321019. If you know somebody who's celebrating their birthday today, you want to extend a wish to them, 0544321019. So please don't go anywhere. We'll get into our news review segment very soon. Zed. We get into our news review segment right away. Please stay tuned. Let's look at some of the top stories and then we try and break some of them down as usual. So starting with the New Finder newspaper, story on page 8 says that gold surges to a record $3,508 per ounce, and also Agra president urges greater investment in agriculture. Stories on page 9 of the New Finder newspaper. This one says Ghana's digital lending needs stricter regulations, and stories on page 2. And GPRTU warns drivers against unapproved fare hikes. Story is on page 4. Let's look at some other stories in the paper. Now, this one says that Deloitte Associate Director calls for stronger compliance in Ghana's FX market, and also investors must know their risk profile before committing funds, coming from an advisor. And also Ghana's digital lending needs, okay, I already read that one. This one says some OMCs adjust pump prices. Diesel drops to 13 cedis 90 pesos, and also petrol hits 12 cedis 99 pesos. And Cath to establish first catheterization lab in 70 years, and also 115 charged for money laundering, and FIC raises alarm over money laundering threats to Ghana's economy. And unpaid nurses and midwives association set to embark on a 3-day protest. And also NRSA warns assemblies over billboards on road medians, and teenagers shot dead at Galamsey site in Doma East. And also President Mahama lifts ban on sale of state lands, and investment goals should guide decisions. This one also says that Afrexim Bank cuts Africa's growth outlook amid commodity and trade pressures. Also Bost directed to post profit and pay dividend by 2025 amid a rebrand. And also green procurement framework key to achieving a sustainable economy, coming from the Ministry of Environment. Also this one says that EU bans popular gel nail polish ingredient over safety concerns, and Burkina Faso Parliament passes law criminalizing LGBTQ practices, and OpenAI to introduce parental controls on ChatGPT amid teen safety concerns. All right, let's look at some other portals. On myjoyonline.com, top story says that will petition Speaker Michael Befi must apologize on the floor for all to see, coming from Tanko Computer. And this one says the people heard us and they delivered a victory, coming from Bernard Bedu, who is the Member of Parliament elect for Akwatia constituency. And also this one says that, okay, he's the same person says that Akwatia is rising again. This win is only the first step. Also, this one says we are not accepting Michael Befi's apologies. He must resign. NDC Stanco Computer. And Tamale Central by election, NPP withdrew because they don't stand a chance. That's coming from the NDC, and with a picture of the General Secretary Fifi Kwete. And Mahama orders audits of state lands, and also Trump and Son stake in crypto firm worth $5 billion. And those are a few of the stories on myjoyonline.com. Let's look at citynewsroom.com. This one says that on Toko News removal, no CJ should endure such rigmarole again, coming from Sophia Akufo, former Chief Justice and Council of State member. We'll look at that story. And also NDC's Bernard Bediako wins Akwatia by election. NDC's Bernard Bediako takes early lead in Akwatia by, okay, the same stories there. Accra Marriott Hotel, a 5-star, okay. This one is also quite promotional. This one says that retaining Akwatia seat politically symbolic but not significant, coming from Fomina MP. And also Take heart and look to God. Sufaya Kufutu ousted CJ Tokonu. And also side hustle to offer free branding and marketing training at This Is Ghana exhibition. And also Kath to receive first ever catheterization lab in 70 years. Okay, almost all the stories are stories that we've read on other platforms. Let's look at graphiconline.com. EC, okay. All right. Okay, all of them are on Akwatia by-election, so quite those are stories that are very related. Okay, this one says 5 SOEs, 5 years of losses. Ghana's persistent fiscal drain. This is on highstreetjournal.com. And AFDB president outlines 4-point 100-day roadmap to boost African finance. And on the international front, Burkina Faso Parliament passes law outlawing LGBTQ practices. And in Africa, Russia is swapping a ruthless paramilitary for a replica it can't control. And on Bloomberg Africa, it says that she vows to defy intimidation at parade of firepower and clout. And on Reuters, China Xi projects power at military parade with Putin and Kim. All right, those are a few of the stories. Now, I have joining me over the phone lines Abel and Solomon Amodiok to try and break some of them down. Abel, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me.
Right. Thank you, too, for making time this morning.
That's my brother. Thank you for having me, and a very good morning to all our cherished listeners.
All right. So let's look at some of the stories this morning, and I want us to start from the story on the CJ removal. I think we started. She described the process as unjust and deeply troubling for Ghana's judicial system. And speaking in a reaction to the recent dismissal of Justice Tokonu by President John Dramani Mahama in a media interview, she said the ordeal was an unfortunate chapter in Ghana's democratic journey and should never be repeated. And let me read her quote. It says that I pray to God that no Chief Justice, no judge should go through this rigmarole again. And so that is basically what she said. I think there's another story that is in line. Let me look for that one. And then all right, then she advises the ousted Chief Justice to take heart and look to God. Yeah, so Abel, that is the story. I thought that initially when the matter went to the Council of State, she said it had they established a prima facie case, and I don't know whether she supported it. I think she did at the time. I don't know.
I think the report was that she abstained. She abstained from.
She abstained. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, she abstained. So, and I think from several media reports also captured that she was one of the witnesses that was called in defense of the Chief Justice. So I think that her position is quite clear. And she was the same person who established a prima facie case for the removal of Madame Charlotte Osei, And at the time, the reasons for the removal of Madame Charlotte Osei was procurement breaches. And I have been saying to a lot of people that if we use procurement breaches as a standard for removal of persons from office, I don't think any head of institution in this country, if subjected strictly so-called to it, if any of them can stand their office, if we take office by office, in fact, ministry from ministry, agency from agency, if we go through, because look at the Auditor General's reports every year, procurement breaches everywhere. Yes, and from local government up to the national government, all the state agencies. So the reason Charlotte Osei was removed was because of procurement breaches. And who established that prima facie case? It was she.
Yeah.
Madame Sofia Akufo.
At the time.
Then Justice of the Supreme Court. Do you understand? And people went with it. So you see, and I've said that, and that was what opened the floodgates for what we have today. So I've been telling people that the precedent is not now. The precedent was set. And people confuse it because even though the judiciary is an arm of government, it also qualifies as one of the independent institutions.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
The Electoral Commission is also an independent institution. In fact, when it comes to elections, the one that is responsible for refereeing that elections is the Electoral Commission. So immediately you remove an Electoral Commissioner, what are you saying? Our electoral democracy is in danger. But the electoral democracy died. The person that was appointed to supervise the elections declared the opposition party as a winner. So I'm saying that whatever it is, Ghana's democracy is consolidated, and people must be held accountable for their actions and inactions. In other jurisdictions, people resign for just thinking or wishing about certain things. Yeah. In other jurisdictions, people do things that we say that they are not grievous enough, because that's the former Chief Justice, that's her contention. Her contention that they are not grievous enough. She's not saying that those actions were not committed. She's saying that they are not grievous enough, and that is our problem in this country. Because we try to
trivialize matters.
Justify, or define the extent of a crime. So, this person did not do it too much. This person did it too much. No, we must be very principled.
And I remember yesterday you talked about some people who have stolen chicken and they are in prisons and all of that.
Exactly. When it is the poor people, nobody defines a crime for you. The average Ghanaian, something happens and you face the full consequences of it. When the rich folks, the elite in society, it's about them, then we start defining the crime. We start trying to find justifications for it. There can be no justification. That's why I said, look at democracies that are working. Look at democracies that have advanced. People get out of office for lesser things. Things that in this country, in fact, we are having a conversation about an MP who is apologizing and saying that a pledge that he made to the people of Ghana was made in a haste. So we should forgive him. In our jurisdiction, he would have resigned himself. Nobody would even, by the time he would have resigned.
That's true.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
To promote trust in our electoral democracy, to keep the confidence of people in public institutions and public leadership very high, but not ours. We defend everything. So, the former Chief Justice, she's a very strong woman, very, strong in opinions, and she has not shied away, from criticizing the very person that appointed her to the office of the Chief Justice. And for that, I respect her and I respect her opinion. But I disagree, I disagree with her strongly. And my disagreement is from the fact she herself acknowledged that once you say they are not grievous enough, you acknowledge that there is what? There's an arm that has the location, but that arm is not enough.
It's not strong
and
enough.
We should not be doing so. A sin is a sin. Whether it's a small sin, it's a big sin, we cannot be seen to be justifying that. Were there misbehavior, stated misbehavior in the cases that have been established? How small they are does not matter. The fact is that those issues have been established. And for me, it serves as an eye-opener going forward for anybody that comes into that office.
Yeah.
You see, because we don't take.
And it's not. I don't think it's just that office. Across.
Exactly, across every. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. Across every office, people will be watching their back and say, "Hey, Charlie, this is what happened to the Chief Justice. Imagine me if I don't, and see, if it's not, look, because of what is happening in this administration, because of the things people are being held to court, being held to investigative agencies for, you begin to hear, you engage a lot of people in the current administration, especially some of their grassroots.
Yeah.
And they tell you that they visit CEOs who tell them that, because of these things now, they can't do this, they can't do this. Do you understand me? And some of them are even angry. What is their anger? That things that were done in the past by officials of the MPP, the NDC officials are refusing to do it. Why are they refusing to do it? Because they are seeing that people are being prosecuted. The security agencies are inviting people to answer for certain things, and they are very careful that they cannot do the same. That if they continue, if they also do so in the next 4 years or 8 years, who knows? It will be their turn to also answer some of those questions. So some of these things makes leadership accountable. When they look behind the things, they say, no, we have to be very careful. And for me, it does not derail our democracy. It adds to the consolidation of our democracy. I disagree with anyone who says that, this is no. I said, if our electoral democracy did not get harmed by the removal of Charlotte Osei, our judicial independence will not be tainted by the removal of the Chief Justice, and that is my contention.
And so that's a precedent we've set, and we're going to, bear the brunt in the coming years, because anybody at all that does anything small, small in quotes, will still have to get. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's I'm only saying that. Yeah, I'm only saying that everybody at all that will do something, no matter how small, would be dealt with according to the law. So we all have to. So
don't leave any space of wrongdoing.
Yeah, absolutely. That is basically it.
Become a justified reason for your removal.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
For me, it also helps to ensure that people once in office must stick to the rules governing their offices. You understand?
Yeah.
You must stick to the rules. And the people that advise you, see, all these independent institutions, they have top advisors. At the Judicial Service, their number one advisor is the Judicial Secretary. At Parliament, the number one advisor to the Speaker is the clerk to Parliament. And these people are very do you know, before you become the Judicial Secretary or before you become the clerk to Parliament, they don't just appoint you from anywhere. You would have gone through the system. You've been milled properly. Do you understand? So when you are advising them, both from experience and then from your knowledge of the workings and procedures that governs that office. But you see, appointees or heads of institutions are very funny. When they are being advised about certain things, they tend to take their own decisions because, the class is saying, you can't do this. Judicial Secretary is saying, Madam Chief Justice, this one, say, how much is this one? And they overlook some of these things, and it goes on. And I'm saying that if we go investigating past chief justices, we go investigating many heads of institutions, some of the things that they've done, it's just like the country's democracy is so young, so certain things were overlooked. But we cannot continue to overlook some of these things. Yeah,
I get it.
That,
so let's that one line now, and let's touch on one more. So President Mahama has lifted ban on sale of state lands. Now, there was a temporary ban on the state and public land transactions, and so he's actually lifted that ban, reopening the access for the sale, lease, and processing of state lands under new measures aimed at restoring transparency and accountability. Now, the ban, which took effect on January 10, 2025, was introduced to review of Ghana's land administration system. Now, speaking at the inauguration of the newly constituted board of the Lands Commission on Tuesday, September 2, President Mahama said the pause had exposed serious weaknesses in the system that demand urgent reforms. And he announced that all future transactions will now be processed through a digitally verified, transparent system under strict oversight to safeguard integrity and rebuild public trust. So basically, that's a story. We've seen a lot of issues around the sale of state lands. I'm glad that some sanity is going to come in that space. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think when the ban came, aside public officials who were engaged in some of these that became worrying, there are also private sector people, who want to invest into some of these lands.
Yeah. And
they had committed huge resources into investing in some of these lands. And so immediately the ban came in, it means that they had to stop work. And across especially in Accra, there are some huge investment that came to a stall because of the ban and because of the investigations that were being undertaken. And I understand that there's been a lot of pressure in the system for the ban to be lifted because some of these people, especially for the private investors, they did no wrong. You understand me? It is usually the political class that when they are engaging in transactions of state lands, they use their political offices to influence the prices. If not, we will not really have issue. If it is about the private sector and the investment they want to do into this land, usually there's a justification why the state must let the land go. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if the land must go to the original owners, if it was taken from some particular family for a particular purpose and it has not been used for that, and in fact, some of the lands, they belong to institutions. Do you understand? And it is those institutions, it was meant for the expansion of those institutions. And some of those lands are being taken over, and the very institutions are not even benefiting from those arrangements. And that was, also a very big issue. So I'm, like you said, I'm also excited that some sanity is being brought into the space. I would have wished that the report of the committee would have been made public. That's so true. That we can all look at it and see what it is saying. But I've also seen news reports that suggest that he has also ordered an audit into some of the lands that were sold, so that we can see whether there was value for money and all that. And they are all very important for accountability going forward. And we wish to see some of the reports published so that we can also appraise ourselves with what has happened in all those activities.
Right. Okay, Abel, thank you very much for your time. Our time is up, and so we have to go now. But I'm really grateful that you made time to help me review some of the stories.
Thank you much for having me, and a very good morning to our cherished listeners once again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please enjoy the rest of your day. All right, so that was Abel Ansoluwin Amodiok. Abel Ansoluwin Amodiok is a governance and policy strategist, and he helps us review them. Hey there, Samuela into with the business news. And right about now, we get into our business brief segment. But of course, like I said, you can send us your WhatsApp messages. You can send us your dedications and birthday wishes. Feel free to WhatsApp us on 0544321019, 0544321019, 0544321019, and I will read your messages for you. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Kindly visit these platforms and share, like, comment, and follow. Of course, on YouTube, do also subscribe to our channel. All right, let's get into our business brief segment this morning where I get to share something very important with you. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you very much for staying with us right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Now, let's get into our business brief segment this morning. And let me ask you to imagine something for a moment. Now, imagine Africa not as a collection. Imagine Africa not as a collection of 54 fragmented markets, but as one great marketplace. Just imagine that for a few minutes. A marketplace that is open, is very connected and thriving. Imagine containers moving from Tema Port straight to Durban, not weighed down by any endless red tape. Imagine Ghanaian technology lighting up South African cities and South African investors building factories right here in Accra. Just imagine that. Sounds bold, right? Sounds very bold. But it's not just imagination. It's already beginning, and today we're going to set the stage for a very important conversation on how Ghana and how can Ghana South Africa trade relations support our local businesses. That's a question we're asking ourselves this morning. How can Ghana South Africa trade relations support our local businesses? Now, let's lay the facts very bare. Now, according to Ghana Statistical Service in 2023. Ghana exported nearly 39 billion Ghana cedis worth of goods to African countries. And get this, over half, about 56%, went to South Africa. One single country taking more than half African products. And that is not just significant. I believe that is very telling. It says something about how strongly these two economies are already linked. South Africa, Ghana are already linked. But here's where it gets interesting. By mid-2024, Ghana's exports to South Africa were valued at almost 300 million rand. And fast forward to June 2025, and that number has plummeted to just over 60 million rand. A dramatic drop, more than 80% in our trade with South Africa. So what do we have here? On one hand, strong demand and natural synergies. On the other hand, we see fragility, and that is actually the reality we are seeing. And if you're a business owner listening to me right now, you can probably relate. Doors are open, but not always wide enough. The opportunity is there, but the road to actually grab it is quite bumpy, and that is something that we were talking about this morning. Now, let's make it very practical. Imagine you're running a cocoa processing company somewhere in Kumasi. Your beans are top quality. South African chocolatiers want them. But then the paperwork hits. The rules of origin, product standards, tariffs that may or may not apply, You spend months just trying to figure out whether your shipment qualifies. Or think of a young tech entrepreneur in Accra. You've built a fantastic payment solution. South African fintech firms want to partner with you. But when you look at cross-border regulations, the data compliance laws, and financing costs, you wonder, is it even worth the hassle? And we haven't even talked about logistics. Freight costs that chew up your margins, unpredictable port delays, differences in regulations. For many Ghanaian businesses, those challenges are enough to keep them from even trying. And that is a reality. And it's a very, very big problem that we have to talk about, because we have ambition, we have products, we have services, but the bridge between Africa and Johannesburg is quite shaky. That bridge is quite shaky. So a lot of young people are interested in the business of exports and all of that to several countries, and South Africa is one of those countries. But if you look at all the things that they have to go through, all the bureaucracies, all the struggles, all the costs that are involved, all the paperwork, the laws and all of that, they begin to wonder whether it is even something that they should get into in the first place. And so that is the situation. But here is where the story even brightens more. Now, we are not standing still. The African Continental Free Trade Area, headquartered right here in Accra, just around the moving pick enclave there, is designed to actually fix what we are talking about this morning. Now, under AFTA, tariffs are coming down on up to 97% of traded products, and borders are opening. Customs processes are being harmonized, and digital trade, digital, is finally being given a framework. Now, the World Bank estimates AFTA could lift 50 million people out of extreme poverty and boost intra-African trade by over 80% by 2035. Now, think about that for a minute. 50 million people. That is the population of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire combined. 50 million people. And as one African business leader put it recently, he says that it is time to be deliberate about trading among ourselves. And this is how we will build interconnected prosperity. And I love that word, deliberate. Deliberate. He said that it's time to be deliberate about it. Because, you see, trade doesn't just happen. It has to be very, very intentional. It has to be structured. And when it is, everyone wins at that. So what does it mean for you, the investor listening to me this morning, the entrepreneur, the professional, the innovator listening to me this morning? What does that mean to you? It means that Ghana is not just looking west or east anymore. We're looking south as well. It means South Africa is not just selling cars and wine to Ghana, but also scouting for our cocoa processors, our ICT innovators, and our mining services. And so it means that if you're a small or medium business, there may soon be fewer barriers between your shop floor in Tema and your customers somewhere in Cape Town. And I hope you get the picture I'm painting. But here's a big but. Knowing this is not enough. The real question is, how do we position ourselves? How do we position ourselves? And that is where today's roundtable comes in, because I know you're already asking yourself, which sectors really hold the opportunities that you may want to veer into? How do Ghanaian entrepreneurs get noticed by South African partners? And beyond opportunity, how do we even deal with those stubborn challenges, the regulations, the logistics, and the financing? And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to give away the answers now. That is for our guest, and he'll be joining me very soon. He's seeing the opportunities firsthand. He'll walk us through the high potential sectors from agriculture and manufacturing to tech and services, and also show us what Ghanaian businesses can do today to tap into them. So here's my advice. Don't touch that dial. Whether you are leading a multinational or running a small factory, coding your next big app, or just curious about Africa's economic future, you want to hear this conversation, because the winds of trade are shifting between Ghana and South Africa. And the businesses that learn to sail with those winds now will be the ones charting the future tomorrow. So it's a very important conversation. We want to see how Ghana South African trade can be harnessed properly to support our local businesses. And I think it's a very important conversation. If you know anybody that must listen to this conversation, whether the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, whichever anybody at all that you know that must listen to this conversation, you may want to reach out to them and say that, hey, there's a conversation that is about to go down on Z101.9 FM and you need to tune in. So we're talking about trade between Ghana and South Africa. It's a very important conversation, like I always say. So make sure you stay when we get into that particular conversation. But that will be all for my business brief this morning. Up next is Transport Today with Solomon Tetenate, and he brings us the local flight schedules as well as the traffic situation and some news in the aviation sector. Please stay tuned.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, thank you very much for staying. Solomon Tetenate is ready to bring us Transport Today. Solo, good morning.
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm well, by God's grace. Good to see you this morning.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, I understand that there's a road traffic and crash and casualty report, a report that has actually been released.
Yeah,
in the road sector.
Yes.
I mean, since you are a transport man,
yesterday,
you have to tell us about it.
The summary of the road traffic crash and casualty situation, provisional statistics for January to July. Report was released yesterday in the evening, and I think we can go through some of the things that the report is pointing
very
to,
important.
and so that we will be aware and see whether we are able to fight the road crashes that we've been, advocating for all these years. So when you look at the summary of the provisional national road traffic crash and casualty statistics, according to the report, cases reported in July has had increase compared to July 2024. I mean, July 2025
and then July last year
compared to July 2024. So cases reported in July 2025 is 1,152. Yes, but you could see increase compared to July 2024, which July 2024 was 817.
That's a lot.
A lot of,
So that is okay. Those are the ones that have even been reported. So those ones that weren't reported, we don't know anything
about it. Yeah.
So it's 41%.
Yeah.
Wow, 41% increase.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And vehicles involved also have had a surge. Looking at July 2025, the reported vehicles involved is 2,018, and then July 2024 was 1,395.
That's a 44.7% increase. I see.
So when you go through this report, you try to ask yourself, are we doing enough of the advocacy and all that? Because over the years, it seems that every month we are seeing increase every month, because last July's report, June report, we went through the report and we also saw increase in these cases. And so
but even that, I think there was one particular one there was a decrease, but in this particular in the July reports, there's been an increase throughout.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing.
Yes. So last the June report, pedestrian knockdowns, we saw decrease.
Okay.
Yeah. So June 2025 was 205, knockdown report, pedestrian knockdown report, and then June 2024 was 223. So that was 8.1% decrease.
Okay.
So at this instance, and that's the July report, there's no decrease. We are rather seeing increase.
Yeah.
Because July 2025 has been reported 184 compared to July 2024.
Okay, so that is year on year. So this year and last year. But if you look at just last month, the pedestrian knockdowns, and this month, I think there's a decrease, isn't it? On month. So
yes. So when you look at, if you're comparing month on month, then there's a decrease actually.
Okay.
Yes, because in June 2025, 205, but in July 2025, 184.
184.
So there's a decrease there.
That's true.
Yes.
But I understand that it's always better to look at it year on year.
Exactly.
So it is still something that we have to be concerned about. It's quite worrying.
So that's the report. When you look at the death toll, monthly distribution in death, in January, we reported 231 deaths due to road crashes.
I see.
Yes. So let's look at even July, because we've gone through those ones already. So July, we have 209 death toll in road crashes compared to last year, which is 168 in July.
So there's like also a 24.4% increase.
Yes.
Okay.
So but pedestrian, let's look at pedestrian knockdowns.
I think we already mentioned that. So let's persons injured.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see the persons injured. So 1,230 in July 2020. So persons that have been injured through road accidents.
Road accidents, yes.
This month, last 2 months. So July is last 2 months. We're in September.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
So last 2 months alone, over 1,000 people.
Yeah, 1,230 compared to last year, 999. Yeah,
I see.
So we are always seeing.
I always say that these are the ones that have been reported. There were other ones that were on some feeder roads that weren't reported. So it means that the casualties are a lot. The crashes and the casualties are a lot.
Maybe let's look at the vehicles involved too in the crashes in July 2025. So when you look at the vehicles, taking commercial, July 2025 we recorded 687 vehicles involved in road crashes. Yeah, 687 compared to last year July, which is 473. Very huge surge or increase there.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the increase, there's been 45.24% increase in this issue or in this case. And when you look at the private vehicles in July 2025, 841 vehicles were involved in road crashes compared to last year 564 in July 2024, and that's in page 8. So I think there's a lot more work to do, and I think we need to even speak to NRSA and other stakeholders and see some of the things they are doing. I know the last time I had in touch, or I got in touch with them, they made some assurance that they are working on doing some
education,
sensitization and all that. But I think they need to intensify the kind of campaign they are doing, because it seems here and then we are always seeing surge increase and all that, and we are not actually recording or seeing decrease in such cases. So there's a call.
It's very alarming. I'm looking at the report, and I mean, I don't know if you noticed that my mood has changed.
Yes.
I mean, these are lives. These are lives of people.
I tell you.
Yes, and these are promising people. Sometimes when we look at some of these things like casually and say, oh, only 1,000 so and so death, but it could be your uncle, it could be your father, it could be your brother, it could be your sibling.
Exactly.
So if there's some conversations that we must have, I believe that we must have that conversation. So if I'm looking at the numbers again, cases reported 1,152 in July, vehicles involved 2018 vehicles involved, and 209 people killed as a result of road accidents. These are people that left their homes.
Yes.
to maybe go to work, go to school.
So their family, they will be back.
They will be back, and then they die on the roads. Yes. It is so wrong. And you know, the issues are still the same issues we've been talking about since 19 whatever. Yeah, nothing has changed about them.
Issues, yeah.
People are not taking the road signs serious. People, and the unfortunate thing is that we in this country today. And I dare say it, that we give licenses to people without they going through the correct processes.
It's true.
We give license to people.
And you meet a lot of people that drive, but they don't even know the road signs.
They don't know the road signs. Because somebody can sit somewhere and then they just give money to somebody and then the person works on a license and brings to them.
And it's going on in our
system. I ask myself that what are we doing? Yeah. Because we are putting everybody at risk. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's life is at risk in this country. Because once you set off on the road, so every time I set off, I have to be praying because you don't even know.
And you see, and at this instance, there's nothing like, oh, you are going to take a car and you have to ask the driver where's
your license. You know, and sometimes you can be in the car and then the driver, I mean, maybe a police officer or somebody from the MTTD meets the driver and says that where's your license, and then you see that the driver doesn't have a license.
Yes.
And there are some Ghanaians who are sitting in these cars and they'll be begging for the driver to
we are late
and all of that.
Yeah, it's true.
We are not taking our lives very serious as a country and as a people. And I think that is something that we have to really be serious about. And let me use this platform to call on the DVLA because that particular situation is very, very alarming.
It's very critical.
No, the person doesn't have. I don't want to go into some details, but the person has not gone for has not done any driving lessons, nothing. But they have a license.
Yes.
And I ask myself,
they know someone there.
They know, they've paid it, and I know they say also that these days they don't let people write the exams.
Oh, really?
I mean, DVLA has put in place those things.
Oh, okay.
But you won't write. They are middlemen. They call them guru boys. They will go and they will take the money and then they will let you. I don't know. You pay some amount of money and then they will just do a license for you.
You may think, and I think if you are doing that, you are being selfish because you may think, I'm getting the money and I'm doing this and that's all. But you are putting people's life at risk.
It is very true. It's very true. There's 209 people that have died as a result of road accidents, and these ones are only the recorded ones. And I'll keep saying that.
A lot of them that we
won't know about. Yeah. 209 people. These are in just 1 month. As a result of road accidents, and that is something that we all need to be concerned about.
Very true.
And I am very sad about it. NRSA, DVLA, any stakeholder at all that is involved in this is a call to you. Let's work towards solving this road issue, this road crash, this road accidents issues, because it's very, very important that we do that. These are lives. These are promising people. There could have been a president in there, a future president who died as part of this 209 people. Somebody that's supposed to change their family. Somebody that's supposed to change their community, and that is something that we need to be very worried about. So, NRSA, again, I'll call on you, NRSA. I'll call on you, DVLA. Let's put in the right strike. Let's do the right thing. You know, we know the right thing, but we won't do it. We won't do it. And it is very, very unfortunate. Look at the numbers we are seeing. I hope that maybe next month we'll see some decrease.
Exactly. We are praying that we will see some decrease.
Yeah, but this is something that we all need to be.
But before I even close the report, let's look at the distribution of crashes by regions.
The regions.
I think there's a good news there. Yeah, page 12 of the report. When we look at the distribution of the crashes by regions, OT region July 2025 recorded 1 compared to July 2024, which is 4.
4 people.
Yes.
4 accidents.
Yes, so we could see a decline there, which is 75% change.
Okay.
And also Upper East 5 recorded in July 2025 compared to July 2024, 20. So there's also a decrease over there that I think we should appreciate there. And also Upper West 3 recorded in July 2025 and 11 recorded in July 2024. So there's decrease in there as the report states, and also
so I think it runs through. We are seeing decreases in Northern, in Bono, in Western,
Ahafo,
Central, Savannah, Savannah 4 deaths, four crashes. This last in July and also last year, and then we begin to see some increase. Yeah,
yes.
In so from Western North increase by 1, Eastern Volta by 5, Eastern 155 crashes. Just this month. Just in July. That's very alarming. And then Bono East 26, Ashanti 350.
Yes,
350, and then Greater Accra 393 road crashes alone.
Serious.
This in July. This calls for a lot of. I mean, we need to intensify the campaigns.
Yes,
and I don't think it's just a campaign about wear your seatbelt, do this and do those things. I think the root cause must be dealt with.
Yes.
And one of them is the DVLA issue I'm talking
very
about.
True. Very
DVLA,
true.
if we really want to deal with this particular menace, then we need to go to the root cause. And one of the root causes, I know for sure, is that people are getting licenses without going through the processes. There are people that are holding motorbikes in town. They don't have licenses. They don't wear their helmets. And the unfortunate thing is that there are certain officials that will meet these people and take some money from them and let them continue their journeys.
It's very true.
And it's something that we need to really talk about. So our time is fast spent. Let me give us the flight schedules, but there's something that we'll have to have a conversation about very soon.
So let me take you through the flight schedules for today, and that's local flight schedules for Passion Air and then Africa World Airlines. So I'm starting with Passion Air Accra to Kumasi. Morning schedules are 6:20 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. 6:20 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. Afternoon schedules 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. and then the evening schedule is 7:20 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi, morning schedule 8:50 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is 4:20 p.m. and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Sunyani has only one flight available for the day at 9:30 a.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. Accra to Wa Passion Air has only one flight available for the day at 12:20 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Tamale, morning schedule is 6 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is 4 p.m. It takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So these are the local flight schedules for Passion Air. Let's look at Africa World Airlines, how the schedules looks like today. So Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, morning schedules are 6:20 a.m. and 8:40 a.m. 6:20 a.m. and 8:40 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 2:20 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. 2:20 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. and then evening schedules are 6:50 p.m. and 7 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi, morning schedule is 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 2:10 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes as well to get to your destination. Accra to Tamale, Africa World Airlines, morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. So these are the local flight schedules for today. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town. Let's look at the traffic situation in town. So as we speak, you could see some traffic in some areas that I'm going to touch on quickly, and then we are out of here. So currently there's traffic on the Atomic Hachu Road. There's traffic at where the Melcom Atomic Hachu branch is located, heading towards Kwabenya Senior High School. So if you're on that stretch, you are likely to experience traffic around that area. St. John's, Dome, Kwabenya, Brekusu Road is also very busy at the moment, especially where the KFC Dome branch is located, getting close to Dome Market is very, very busy as we speak. So if you are using that route, expect traffic on that stretch. And also, Dome Road is also very busy at the moment, Domi Road, heading towards Kappa Astrotef, right from the GCB Bank on at Domi. There's traffic on the Domi Road, so you should also take note of that. There's traffic, very serious traffic on that stretch as we speak. There's also traffic on the Agri Street, where the Ahead Media is located. There's traffic on that stretch as we speak, so you should also take critical look at that. If you want to use that stretch, expect traffic around that area. So that's the traffic situation in town. There's also traffic on the Abelempe Road. There's traffic on the Abelempe Road, especially where the Nana B Select is located. There's traffic on the road, and that's the Abelempe road. So if you are using the Abelempe road, you are going to experience traffic on the stretch, especially where the Nana B Select is located. Achimota Road is also very busy at the moment. If you are at Roman Ridge heading towards 37, there's traffic on the Achimota Road, especially where the Accra Girls Senior High School is located. There's traffic on that stretch. So that's the traffic situation in town. But before I leave, let me give you some stories trending in the aviation sector. So Africa Airlines recorded steady growth in passenger traffic in July 2025, mainly driven by a surge in travel between Africa and Asia, according to the International Air Transport Association latest market analysis. The report shows that the demand on African carriers rose by 2.8% year-on-year, with capacity expanding by 2.3% over the same period. This translated into a 74.9% passenger load factor, an improvement that underscores the strengthening connectivity between Africa hubs and Asian destinations. So this is a report from the International Air Transport Association. And also, India and China set to resume direct flight after 5-year suspension. So direct passenger flight between India and China, which have been grounded for over 5 years, are preparing for a long-awaited return. Multiple Chinese airlines have begun the approval process to re-enter the Indian market, while India's Indigo is also gearing up to restore services to key Chinese cities. So the move, expected to take effect this winter, could significantly reshape travel and also trade dynamics between the two Asian giants. So these are the stories trending in the aviation sector today. Thank you so much, Ni, for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon Tetenate, for bringing us transport today. All right, so we will get into our market trends segment very soon with Emmanuel Boateng, our in-house economic analyst, who will be joining me very soon for that one. But we'll take a quick music break, and then when we return, the show continues. Please enjoy Maboudin by Dinah Samoa.
Yeah! Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that was it.
this report is released by the Bank of Ghana and the Financial Intelligence Center, and it actually presents a thorough evaluation of the country's exposure to these critical financial crimes, money laundering, and also countering financing of terrorism and proliferation of proliferation, financing risk, and all of that. That is exactly what the report talks about, and it offers an in-depth analysis of the threats and the vulnerabilities, and also the current measures in Ghana in our fight against financial crimes, specifically what I mentioned: the money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation financing. And that is exactly what we want to focus on. Ima, good morning. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Zed. Hello. Hello, Ima. Good morning.
Good morning, Ifebi, and thank you for having me this morning.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's get it. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing very well.
All right, great. So let's get into the report. We want to let's just highlight some of the key findings in there, and then maybe we can take it one after the other. I see that there are several sectors. The report looks at banking. It looks at other sectors of the economy. And so we may want to try and take them one after the other. Maybe we can't look at everything, but we'll try and look at some of them. So I see banking, I see non-profit organizations, I see something largely on terrorism financing and all of that, financial inclusion and all of that. We'll look at those conversations in the coming days. But today, let's just look at most of the key findings in the report. So what exactly is the overall threat level of money laundering in Ghana?
Well, thank you very much, and then I'm grateful for the opportunity for us to get into this report. But this is one of the reports that we would always need to speak about. Money laundering is a serious issue, and it's not, the report does not just cover money laundering. And that is where this is a report that looks at national anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism and proliferation financing. So what we call AML, CFT, CPS risk assessment of Ghana. And this is over the past year. So this it covers a number of years, but I think the focus more lies on the previous year. And like you already said, it covers many issues, some money laundering cases usually have, like, their bedfellows, alliances with fraud, among other things. And you touch on some key areas. I'm sure you are aware that, for instance, an area like real estate is a place where we see a lot of money laundering happen. Now, the objectives of the report really is to identify, access, and understand the emerging money laundering threats and vulnerability among these various sectors, and to also identify and access money laundering risk, which is associated with legal persons and legal arrangements in the country. The report also identifies and access the level of theft and the risk thereof in the country, and some targets that are proposed in mitigating these risks. Now, to the substantive question that you did ask. The overall threat level for money laundering in Ghana is rated medium for 2024. It's an improvement from the previous assessment where we ranked at medium high. And that is a good indication of progress, but also underscores or explains the continuous challenges we face in fighting illicit financial activities here in Ghana. You see, while we've made some strides in regulatory reforms and improvements in our financial crime prevention, we must remain very vigilant. Fraud, tax evasion, and drug trafficking are still prevalent in this country. And they continue to be exploited for money laundering purposes. I may not want to make specific examples to some things we've seen recently, but I'm sure you read the extradition of some young Ghanaians to the United States over money laundering issues, I think very early in the year, this year, on some things that have been done. I'm sure you remember a restaurant was put up in East Legon just to be able to detect some of these things. I'm sure you are aware of the FBI from the United States, their actions in this country just because they believe there were some people who were engaged in some of these money laundering and romance scams, for which reason they've been able to, as it were, arrest them. Yes, get them and take them on. So the point is that it's still prevalent in this country, no matter the rating we are getting, and even the rating we have. That suggests that it's still prevalent here in Ghana, and we need to pay a close attention to that. We need to be able to work hard to be able to reduce the rate at which it is going. You see, the framework may be improving, but there are areas in which criminal activities still thrive, especially where systems remain porous. And usually, for me, I do not always want to blame this on the systems and what have you. Usually, we have a situation where maybe the big question is, who are those engaged in these taxation, money laundering, drug trafficking schemes, and what have you? And then, why are they engaged in it? Why are they doing that? Why are guys doing that? Why? So the why really matters. Because, yes, frameworks are important. The laws are what we need to be able to put people in check and all of that. But why do people still keep doing them, albeit good laws in this country? And I think it is some discussion that we may need to get into. The why behind why we see an influx of some of these situations in our country when we shouldn't be seeing them at all.
I see. So you talk about the fact that we did quite well compared to last year. So medium high last year, and then now we're doing medium, which is an improvement. And I hope that maybe going forward we'll still see some more improvement. But which predicates offenses contribute most to the money laundering risk that we're talking about here in Ghana?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like you said, I may just list the offenses, but it doesn't mean that that is all there is to the offense. There are more issues. Really, there are a lot of issues. When you take each of the offenses in the report, it gives you a breakdown 2019, 2020, in fact, over the past 5 years. 19 to 23, it tells you number of fraud cases that have been investigated and many other things under that. But the predicates, the most significant contributions to money laundering risk in Ghana, they include fraud. See, cases of fraud such as cybercrime, forgery, VAT fraud, among others, they continue to rise. From 2019 to 2023, over 27,000 fraud cases were investigated in Ghana.
I see. 27,000.
Yes. Ghana. See, in 2019, we investigated 20,654 cases. 2020 reduced to 1,842. 21 reduced further to 1,592. Then 22 increased marginally to 1,603. And then in 23 reduced to 1,352. If you put all of this together, approximately it is more than 27,000 fraud cases that have been investigated. But these are investigations. Yeah, that's a huge that's a huge number. These are cases, different cases, 27,000 different cases over the span of 5 years. And that answers why I'm saying that it is so prevalent. No matter which belt you put us, to say we are medium, high, whatever, 27,000 fraud cases is not a small number. But of course, when you look at the data, we must also speak to the fact that in 2019, we recorded 20,654. That is about, if you like, 80 to 85% of the total number. 2023, 1,352. So you can see that over time, the numbers have gradually, have significantly reduced.
Yeah.
Now you see, out of this
but if you look at a 2021, so 2020 was 1,842. And then 2021, 1,592. So it dropped significantly. But in 2022, it went up again to 1,603. Then it dropped drastically in 2023.
Precisely so.
So
So if you put all of them together,
Yeah.
the actual number is 27,043 cases, fraud cases.
Right.
Mm.
And that's a lot.
Yeah. And you see,
And these are the ones that have actually been investigated. So there are ones that the people have not been pursued at all.
oh yeah, I like the way I think it. So you think there are some that have not been
Yeah, of
seen.
course, I mean.
Yeah, of course. The way it is done. In fact, I remember back when I was training for chartered accountancy, there's a course we did. I think advanced audit and assurance. There's a part that we look into money laundering. In fact, I think it was part of my final exam. And I remember looking at the different types of money laundering and what people do, deflecting it, layering, and some other things. You will be amazed. Maybe one day we'll have a conversation on that. People are just, I don't want to say smart, but that is what it looks like. Maybe let me use the word. They are shrewd. They attempt to do things that are very funny and foul. You see, 635 corporates were charged with money laundering. 531 were prosecuted, and we successfully convicted 111 cases for money laundering charges. And you can understand. You look at it. The corporates were 635. So out of these cases, it is even likely that there is a certain somebody who has manifested in different cases. Very possible. So the same guy, many money laundering cases, he is just the one. And then we prosecuted 531 of them and successfully convicted 111. It doesn't mean that the rest of the cases, perhaps they are still ongoing or something like that.
Okay.
The other bit has to do with forgery. Forgery is a big crime in this country. Sometimes I feel people don't know. But forgery is a serious issue. And if I remember my fraud triangle very well, I think there is motive. I think there is opportunity. There's one last bit left. I'll try and get it as we move on. You see, fraudulent documents like property deeds, tax documents, bank statements, they're usually used to move illicit funds across borders. So if I'm aware, you know that somebody who has some illegal money or something, they may try to. You see, the whole thing of money laundering is essentially, you see, laundering comes from the word to launder, meaning to wash, to make clean. In other words, this is money that is dirty, that you are trying to make it clean. What do you then do? You need to look for detergent or something that can cleanse it for you, that has the power to make it look as though that dirty money has suddenly become clean. And that is why you see many people then say, okay, then let me get into real estate. And that is why real estate comes up. Because once I get into real estate, and perhaps I'm even on the radar for money laundering, and questions are being, how did you get money and all? Oh, I own a real estate. That is what generates my income, kind of thing. So that is the whole thing. And the other part has to do with NGOs, or if you like, maybe let me call it non-profit organizations. This is also another mechanism through which people wash money or launder money. And that is why in the sectoral disaggregation of the data, you find that the report was highlighting some of these key sectors. Because these are the channels through which people launder money. The other predicate offense has to do with drug trafficking. And that is a growing concern for all of us. It's not just about fraud, literally. It's not only fraud. See, in 2020, Ghana enacted the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020, that's Act 1019, to further strengthen the regime against drug trafficking. If drug trafficking was not a prevalent offense in this country, I don't think there will be, loosely, a need for that in the first place. I'm not saying that we only need a law or a regulation to correct something that is wrong in the system. Sometimes we also need it. Sometimes we need to lead. We don't need to lag. In other words, we need to drive that. We need to be, they call it proactive in the way in which we go about some of these things. But you see, the Act defines some things, various narcotic drug offenses, including illegal importation of drugs, exportation, re-exportation of narcotic drugs, plants without license, unlawful possession or control of these substances for personal use or for trafficking, and the penalties involve fines and imprisonment. It bans unauthorized production, processing, manufacturing, distribution, and sale of narcotic drugs or plants, and criminalizes the possession of related equipment and materials. You see, that act addresses unlawful cultivation, unauthorized administration, and illegal purchase of narcotic drugs or plants. And whatever it is, fraud, forgery, drug trafficking are at the heart of this report. And these offenses together contribute not only to direct financial losses, but also systemic vulnerabilities as they allow the illicit flow of funds through sectors like real estate and need to be even banking.
So I was actually going to come to that. So you tell us which sectors really. So you talked about banking and real estate. Which sectors really across our economy are most, or sectors really are most vulnerable to money laundering in Ghana?
Yes,
that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I'll come to that. But maybe let me conclude the list. I wanted to add tax offenses.
Tax offenses,
tax evasion, and the like. And then bribery and corruption. I'm sure for this one.
That's for that one. It's very common. So
it's very common. Where do you usually see it?
We see it.
We see.
Yes, we see it.
We see. Yeah, once you use the route, you see. Yeah. But you asked a very important question. Which sectors are most vulnerable to money laundering? And we are not saying that these sectors have been complying with money launderers to launder their money. That's not what we are saying. The point we want to make is that which sectors of the Ghanaian economy is most prone, is that okay, to be invaded by money launderers or to aid the activities of money lenders. We are not saying that is what they do. We are saying that this is a channel through which they can work. I hope I've been able to bring so that when we mention your sector, you will not be alarmed. Yeah, I'm not saying that. The report didn't say that, so we cannot say that. Now, real estate. I think that we need some effective regulation in there because this is an area that these money launderers can go through. Real estate. And the lack of effective regulation in this sector, telling you, has made it a prime target for money laundering, with properties being bought and sold without full transparency. It will amaze you. But one day we need to do a personal audit of people's lives to check, to find out how people got their money, how they were able to build an estate, etc., etc. Maybe one day we may have to look at that. But real estate is an area that these guys can go through. Non-profit organizations. The report emphasizes the growing vulnerability of non-profit organizations, including NGOs, particularly those operating near the northern and western boundaries of this country. These organizations are often engaged in humanitarian, educational, religious activities. They are usually at the risk of being abused for terrorism financing, what we call TS. Yes, I'm telling you. We are engaged in some, they are building some schools. We like to, I mean, that's how they speak usually. Not like I'm one of them. I just understand the language but that is an area. And then financial institutions. You see, also the Bank of Ghana and Financial Intelligence Center have implemented strong monitoring mechanisms. I can assure you that there are still gaps in compliance, particularly in informal sectors such as mobile money and real estate transactions. And I think a day or two ago, we were just talking about cyber attacks on mobile money accounts and how there may be some difficulties in the. I think yesterday we were looking at how we regulate digital transactions or digital finance, and today we are talking about money laundering and how it has implications for mobile money services. These vulnerabilities are not just theoretical. They are representation of real risks that undermine public trust and have the potential to damage the financial system's credibility.
I see. But so how have we been responding to these fraud-related money laundering risks as a country? How have we been doing that?
Fraud-related money laundering continues to be a significant problem for us in Ghana, but several actions have been taken to mitigate some of these risks. Law enforcement the efforts around that have increased, with intelligence reports being shared between the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, and the law enforcement agencies, LEA. So between 2019 and 2023, FIC sent over 62 to 127 intelligence reports, helping initiate investigations and even leading to asset seizures. And because we were not discussing into detail, I didn't even get into the assets in terms of amounts of money involved in some of these cases. You'll be shocked. Sometimes I believe with the old adage, and we are sitting on money that we are suffering. And maybe to extend it further, some of these monies have been illegally made. Some of these illegal monies are the reasons why we are not even able to bring things under control in our economy. Yeah. And then the case of, maybe let's take one case. The Republican Emmanuel Inusa. Sad enough, it's Emmanuel Inusa. It's Emmanuel. It should have been like Inusa or something. Yeah, but the case of the Republic versus Emmanuel Inusa in 2022, it is a clear example of how FIC's intelligence dissemination has led to criminal convictions. Inusa orchestrated a fraud scheme targeting U.S. citizens. It's always the U.S. And he has been sentenced for 50 years in prison. Wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. These cases highlight not just the increasing vigilance of the authorities, but also the effectiveness of international cooperation in tracking cross-border fraud. And so, yes, we have been doing something at this. It's not like we've been idle. People have been convicted. The data shows us about 111 convictions, and then some of our laws have been working. The law enforcement agencies have been working, but more needs to be done.
So I know that the report gives some recommendations. We'll look at the recommendations very soon. But what cross-border threats does our country face in money laundering and all the things we've talked about?
Yeah, thank you very much. Ghana's strategic location as a financial hub and its involvement in international trade makes it susceptible to cross-border threats. It makes us very, very susceptible to cross-border threats in money laundering, in terrorism financing, and among others. So that is why. But you see, the report highlights the following areas. Drug trafficking network that use Ghana as a transit point is one of such key areas. So these are just the threat areas. Yeah. Now, trade misinvoicing. So where goods are either under-invoiced or over-invoiced to move illicit funds across our borders. That's another one. And then remittances, especially through informal channels. They serve as an avenue for laundering money without adequate oversight. However, Ghana has made commendable progress, and I think we need to commend ourselves or the countries for the strides that we have made in fighting cross-border crime by strengthening its cooperation with international partners, including the FBI and Interpol, through mutual legal assistance requests. For examples are there. I'm sure you know the Haja Korea case. That's a good example of how international cooperation has helped dismantle global money laundering operations. And I think the guy's name is, if it's not K-Boat, I'm not too sure if I know, the one that was
I think it was
this year.
also.
Yeah, that's K. So it just tells you. And recently, some efforts by Yoko as well, partnering with FBI, we've seen the seeds of that. So we've made some strides because we are talking about cross-border threats and how all of that goes on. Yeah. And maybe let me use this to make a point. Sometimes I see some short videos of young people making a case for why they will be engaged in fraud online. And they do say that in the days of old, the whites came and enslaved our forebears. They took our gold away. They took our precious minerals, and we were enslaved. This is their time to take back what their forebears lost. Friends, this is not the way to go. This is illegal. Money laundering is illegal. Fraud is illegal. It's criminal. You can spend your entire life in prison because of that one thing you do. So you rather sit down, find some work to do a legal work, and make your gain. If you have anything to prove to the West, if you have anything to prove to anyone, it should be how hard you can work, the innovations you can bring on board, what your contribution can be in placing Ghana as a better pedestal in this global world.
I see. So what are the key recommendations? Maybe then we can wrap up. The key recommendations to reduce money laundering threats. Tomorrow, hopefully, we will look at other parts of the report. I think this is a report we have to really go into very well.
Yeah. So maybe let me start with law enforcement agencies. We need to have some capacity building for them, and the judiciary as well through targeted training programs. Because see, this may be sometimes when I look at these cases, it looks like a complex web. It's a grand scheme. It is well orchestrated. I don't know if you've watched Prison Break before. It is designed in a certain pattern that is very complex, sometimes very difficult to track them down. So we need some serious capacity building for our law enforcement agencies and for our judiciary, targeted training programs, so that they are well equipped to be able to deal with some of these cases, detect them, pick those who are the perpetrators or the culprits, take them on, among other things. We need to strengthen our asset seizure and confiscating laws to prevent the movement of illicit funds. I'm sure asset seizure today is no news. I mean, we've seen what has been happening on the waves quite recently. The seizure of cars. What I'm looking for is the seizure of homes as well, houses. But we've seen a bit with seizure of cars and some investigations that have been going on. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Then we need to improve data sharing, data sharing systems through the integrated electronic case management system, i.e. CMS, to allow seamless information flow between competent authorities. And then maybe lastly, we need to consider amending Act 1044 to allow lower courts, circuits, and district courts to be able to adjudicate money laundering cases, as the current practice only allows for high court involvement. These measures taken together, in my opinion, would require some strong commitments from all stakeholders, particularly from the regulatory bodies, the judiciary, law enforcement agencies, and from the executive tooling and making these agencies stronger so that they'll be able to work independently. And we need that. And with this in view, we will be able to ensure a robust framework for combating financial crime in Ghana.
Right.
Let me add my last words, and then I know you're
okay, sure.
Yeah, in conclusion, the 2024 National Risk Assessment Report on anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism and proliferation financing explains both progress and the challenges in our country's efforts to fight against financial crimes. While we've made some improvements, particularly in legislative reforms and interagency cooperation, we must remain very vigilant. The vulnerability of our key sectors like real estate, non-profit organizations, financial sector, among others, and the persistent threats from fraud and tax evasion demand continuous attention and action. And for us, our key recommendation offers a blueprint to strengthen the AML, CFT, CPF framework in Ghana, but they must be implemented urgently to mitigate the risk. This is a collective effort. This is an effort that requires continuous collaboration between government agencies, financial institutions, the private sector, and international partners. Only they can, and only then would we be able to ensure a safer, more transparent economy for the future of Ghana. Let us all work together to address these challenges, protect the integrity of financial system, and make Ghana a leader in the global fight against financial crime. Thank you.
All right. Ima, thank you very much for your time. Really grateful for the insights as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. All
right. That was Emmanuel Boatinga, in-house economic analyst, sharing his, giving us key findings from the anti-money laundering report or risk assessment report that has been released by the Bank of Ghana and the Financial Intelligence Center. And a lot of things in there. We focus largely on money laundering today. Hopefully we can look at the other parts of the report in the coming days. Yeah. But if you miss any part of this interview, please visit our social media platforms on Facebook and also on YouTube. Facebook, we're at ZFMGH, and also on YouTube at Zed Multimedia. You can visit these platforms and play back. All right. So we will get into our roundtable discussion very soon. My guest is already here, and we'll get into that. We're talking about Ghana, South Africa trade relations to support local business. It's very important conversation. Text a friend, tell a friend that we're live right now, and they should tune into and get a conversation with soon. But we'll take a music break and get into our next station.
Thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day, yeah, 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 yeah. It's a beautiful day, yeah. And thank you for this life, sorry I complain. The ups and the downs, it's just a part of the game. It's a beautiful day, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day, yeah. Ride through the city, just reflecting on me while they're hitting, I'm just keeping it cool.
Exactly 2 minutes to the top of the hour, and this morning we get into a roundtable discussion right away. But the song in the background was Dave Scott and P Square, and they call that one "Bring It On." Of course, we're talking about bringing South Africa on and bringing Ghana on in terms of our trade relations this morning. So our focus this morning is timely and very important. We're asking a very big question: that how can Ghana South Africa trade relations support local businesses? A very important conversation. Now, Ghana and South Africa share not just strong diplomatic ties, but also growing trade and investment connections, from mining, agriculture to manufacturing, technology, and professional services. Opportunities are opening up that can directly benefit Ghanaian entrepreneurs. The question is, how do we position ourselves to tap into them? And so that's what we're going to explore this morning. And we're honored to have Mr. Grant Weber, and he is the president of the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber. And he will be highlighting the most promising sectors for collaboration, how Ghanaian business can strategically attract South African partnerships, and the vital role the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber plays in bridging networks and also overcoming the trade barriers. We'll also take a look at how AFTA can give our businesses a wider reach